Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Sham Kumar Mubala. Yeah, so welcome back to the next series of my videos wherein we are going to discuss about the capture response API end to end. So let us start with understanding the flow, why the capture response is actually required in the inbound channels. So in this diagram, if you can see, there are two blocks over here, web and Pega, right? So let us say the customer logged into a particular website and so a container is actually placed in the website. We have talked about real-time containers in our previous playlist, right? So a container request comes to Pega and there a real-time container gets executed and finally a credit card offer will be sent back to the website. So now let us say the customer viewed the credit card or accepted the credit card or clicked the credit card, whatever it is. So that means some kind of action is being happening on that particular offer which we have sent earlier. So now we have to send that particular outcome of that particular offer which we have sent, right? We have to capture that. So let us say in our case, we can call it as an impression. So this impression will be captured by Pega using a service called capture response service. Okay. So now what does this capture response service do? So it receives the outcome for a particular offer which we have sent earlier in any channel. Okay. So either it is inbound channels or outbound channels, whatever it is, and the data will be stored into the interaction history, updating the adaptive models, updating the interaction history summaries, and updating the journey steps, whatnot. So it will actually do many things whenever the capture response service is executed. Okay. Now this is not only in the inbound channels, so it also works for outbound channels. So for example, in Pega, we generally use primary or secondary schedule uh, so to run a batch, okay, batch decisioning, it is called as a batch decisioning. So the result of the batch decisioning will be the offers, and those offers will be sent to the customers in the form of email, push message, or something else, right? So in this case, we consider email as an example. You can see here the primary or secondary schedule executed, and let us say credit card offer has been sent to a customer called Steven. I mean, many offers got generated. Let us take an example for one customer called as Steven. Some Blue View Platinum card has been sent to this particular customer. So the customer has seen this particular offer after 3 days and he accepted this particular offer. Now this accepted outcome should be sent to Pega to capture the same. So again, this capture response service will provide us a aid to receive the response from appropriate channel. So in this case, email channel. So yeah, we get accepted response back, and then the capture response service will store the data to interaction history, update the adaptive models, and other stuff as well. Okay, awesome. Now let us understand a few more points about capture response service. Yeah, capture response is a real-time REST service that supports the post HTTP method. So we have seen real-time container in our previous series, right? So there we have discussed about post method, but real-time containers also allow us to use the get method as well, but capture response only allow post HTTP method. Yeah. And this service can be used for any type of response capture, either it is inbound or outbound. As I said earlier in our two images, which we have discussed for both inbound and outbound. So yeah, this service can be used for any type of response capture. So for example, you can use it to collect the responses for push notifications, web impressions, or other outbound channels and inbound channels. Okay, now let us discuss about the URL pattern. So the service will have, I mean, every REST service will have an endpoint URL, right? So the capture response endpoint URL follows this particular pattern. So you can see the host, port, PR web, PR REST service, Pega MKT container, V4. Since we are discussing about the latest services, that is why I have put the V4 over here and capture underscore response. Yeah. So we will quickly, I mean, we will soon test this particular service using the Postman as well. Now let us quickly see this service by opening Pega MKT container service package. So let me navigate to the instance where CDH is installed. Let me open integration resources service package and open the container service. Okay. So in the Pega MKT container, we have to select rule service rest, scroll down, and here you can see we have capture response. So open this capture underscore response service. Okay. And its primary page class is int Pega CDH container, and the request will be parsed onto the page called response service page. And if I go to methods, it actually accepts post method. If I expand the get method, you can see there is no activity or definition for the get method. So we have the post method. Okay, awesome. Okay, now let us understand the request and response structure for this particular service. So yeah, let us go through the documentation provided by Pega on the capture response service. So you can go to docs.pega.com and in the filter you can search for capturing responses to actions with the capture response service, or just type this capture response so that you can find this document very easily. All right. And yeah, we have two URL patterns out of which we are going to discuss only one thing, which is V4 capture response. And whereas the second one, I will try to plan for offer initiation concept in Pega CDH in our later post. Okay. And this documentation provided OpenAI specification, um, Open API specification in the form of what do we call? Yeah, here we have, I mean, Open API specification will be available uh, in the service REST itself in the form of YAML and also the Swagger format. So if I go to Swagger, you can clearly see that it will pop up the Swagger documentation over here. So from this, you can actually quickly test your service as well. Okay. Yeah, and it also provided the different response codes. So 200 is success, 400 is error, 500 is also an internal error. Okay, and I mean, here they have explained the in detail description for each and every field which we use for the request. But I will go to the down and let me show you this JSON. Okay. So this is the request which we have to send for the capture response. So the subject ID is nothing but the customer ID, context name. Yeah, in our case, we are going to use the context name as a customer and the container name. So if we are trying to capture the response for the offer which we have sent earlier from the container, yes, we have to provide the container name. If we don't have the container name, then no need to pass this. That is fine. And application ID, yeah. So it is also kind of mandatory, but it is optional for single application in a server. If you have multiple applications, we definitely need to pass the application ID. And coming to the very important part called as ranked results. So this is where this is a page list which actually holds the records for which we have to capture the outcome. Okay. So in this important fields are subject ID, the name of the offer, which is nothing but PY name, PY issue, PY group, PX rank, PX interaction ID, and outcome. Now, what is the interaction ID? As you know, in the earlier series, in the real-time container, we have seen that for every real-time container execution, for every strategy execution, it will generate a unique ID for that decision called as interaction ID, right? We have to provide this interaction ID, okay, and the outcome of this particular offer. So this is the offer which we have already sent to that particular customer, and for the same offer, we have to send the outcome. Either it is impression accepted, not accepted, rejected, right? Clicked, these kind of outcomes which we can actually send. Okay. Now let us understand the service response. The response is very simple. the status is okay and message is response captured successfully. And it will also provide us the response code as well, like 200, 400, 500. Yeah, based upon this, the appropriate client who is calling the Pega capture response service will be able to handle the exceptions. Awesome. So I hope you understood the request and response structure. Okay. Now, in the next video, we are going to test a capture response service. So thank you again.